What's going on, everybody? I'm Mezzy Shredder, and welcome to my channel. I make understanding things on the guitar easy, and today is no different. I have an easy legato exercise I'd like to share with you to help you burn through legato exercises as fast as possible. If speed is your thing, then this is your exercise and this is your video meant for you. Let's get started. Legato technique is very, very simple. Let me just tell you why. Because all we do is hammer-ons and pull-offs. So get good at these hammer-ons. Just keep doing them. They turn into trills, which is multiple hammer-ons and pull-offs. So a trill is this. Those hammer-ons and pull-offs are the basis for any type of legato or tapping technique. Now, I have another video where I explain finger tapping using this technique. So in that video, you can learn to use this technique to tap. In this video, we're going to use it to learn legato. Legato means smooth with no pick. So we're going to be doing just that. I like to use the A Dorian box from the key of G major because it's a fairly simple box to understand. It is simply the key of G major beginning from the A note. So the notes we're going to be using are A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, and A. Let me demonstrate a very simple, easy way to use legato, just hammering the fingers in the method I like to call on, off, off. If you've seen my other video, then you already know what I'm talking about. On, off, off. On, off, off. On, off, off. Now, this exercise is not very difficult if the technique is correct. For now, I want you to have your hand out in the front like I do. When you get better at it and more experienced, there may be situations where you can kind of bring your hand around like this and still do it. When I know I don't have to cross the strings or don't want to, then I might bring my thumb up for a small amount of time. But when I know I'm going to cross the strings, I know I need to bring my hand down again like this. So let me explain. Your hand needs to be with your knuckles out front as far as possible, because when your fingers are like this, they don't lift back off the guitar very far. In fact, the farther you bring them up, the less they move at all. Now, the more you bring your hand like this, oh God, the fingers can do this and lift and be sloppy. So, for all the string moving, crossing the string type of exercises you're going to do, or picking through 3 notes on a string, you definitely want your hand out in the front to be like this, so you can get that rifling action without your fingers coming up very far. You can't be doing this if you ever want to be, clean and fast. So we need the hand out like this. Now that your hand is like this, you'll get used to playing on your fingertips. We want your fingers to land on the same spots every time, on the highest points of your fingers. That is why you are bringing your fingers around, to get on the tips. Okay? Now, what we're going to do is just repeat this smoothly. So we want all these fingers eventually to be able to move at the same speed so it sounds consistent. Now, you'll get your speed by using a metronome. You'll get so fast, probably, you might get somewhere around here. And then you'll need a metronome to get that. You're not going to get that without a machine to chase. You got to chase the speed. And it'll train you as well. So that is the basic move for legato. If you're using a second finger, then it's just, second finger. So this is, say, the key of D minor. If I'm in, like I use an A, a B flat, and a C, I'd be using, the key of D minor. So everyone is a little different. Some people will feel that it's easier with the second finger, and they're going to practice that all the time. I tell those people, play the third finger more if the second finger is easier, because you want to develop these equally. And if your second finger is easier for you to perform this with, and you start playing that finger more often, well, you're going to leave this one in the dust, and then we're going to know it when you go to use it. Same thing with the vice versa. If this is easier for you, then develop it by all means, of course. But don't neglect this because it's harder. In fact, play this one more often because it's going to need more work because it's harder. Because this one is more difficult for you. If this one is easier, then you got to put extra work in for this one to make it equal, because you're always going to have a finger that feels easier to develop the skill with. But you must develop all the fingers equally. So you got to get used to giving one of those fingers a little extra time so they all develop equally. It's just the way it works. If you feel they're both equally, there's no difference, then you're one of the lucky ones. Different exercises for me meant this was easier, and different ones meant this one was easier. So I worked on both to make all of them equally well all the time. Now, let's get into how we're going to cross the strings. We see guys doing things like this. Let's figure out what's going on with that and how we can do that very smoothly. There is a technique to it, and there's only one way. What we do not do is this. We do not lead with the first finger. We do not lead with the first finger. We lead with whichever finger is in the center. If it's the third finger, then we're leading with the third. If it's the second finger on the move, then we're leading with the second finger. Let me demonstrate this for you slowly. You see that? You bring this guy up first, then this, then that. So he comes up. When that pinky comes up, then you bring up the first finger there, and you remove these fingers. Now I move into the next one, and I go to the third finger. If you caught that, I moved in with my third finger. So you got to do a little pull-off between the third and fourth finger. A little pull-off, pull-off. And then when you're faster, when you get better at it, you're just going to be able to. But I'm not going to just leave you hanging like that and just say, wow, when you get better at it, you'll be able to cross strings here. No, I'm going to give you another method to break down that move even farther that's going to help you kick this crud out of this thing. So let's break it down. I'm all about breaking things down into smaller pieces to make them even easier, and then we just connect all the pieces, and that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to show you the smallest move and then build it into the biggest move, and then that's going to be one of the easiest ways to do this. So we're going to do, you are going to learn to do this first. Just keep doing that to train that finger to get up there. And then you can, once you know you're doing that, you can rifle just that little lick immediately and go. And just keep practicing that first finger and that third finger move to get it up there. Now, once you do that, you're now going to practice adding in the pinky. Once you feel comfortable enough and you have that down, you can then try adding the first finger back in. It's not that difficult. It's a little frustrating in the beginning, so that's why I'm trying to give you this breakdown so that you know, if you can get each one of these little pieces, you just glue them all together, and it's not as hard as swallowing this whole pill all at once, trying to go. It's a little much. I can understand that being frustrating. So cutting this down into the smaller pieces just makes it so much easier. And if it takes you a couple hours, then it takes you a couple hours. But if you have some movement already on your fingers and you already can play and you have some experience, then these things come very quickly. If you're new, Well, then you just need to develop that hammer-on I showed you in the beginning. And it's, this is all how much time you put in determines how long these things take. If you want to put in 5 or 10 hours a day, if you have it, it's not going to take as long. So I just want you to understand that you're using the center finger to cross, and the faster you go, it actually gets easier to hear the sound because the momentum will push the string down hard enough to hear it. When I'm moving slowly here, there's no momentum on the string, so I have to use extra strength to smack that pinky or that ring finger down. But when I'm moving, that momentum is going to slap them down for me, but I'm going. Well, I'm exaggerating the moves because I'm moving so slowly that my fingers actually have to whack those notes harder than I really would hit them. I have a very light, graceful touch to the guitar, and that's what makes it faster. So I'm not pressing that hard, but when I show it to you in a slowed down version, I have to push a little harder to make you see it. So that's why it just sounds a little different. And that is what we're doing here. So we practice crossing the strings. Hey guys, I hope that helps you with some easy legato moves that start out slowly, but very quickly they get faster. It doesn't take that long to make them faster, so I hope they get fast for you quickly. I really hope this is an awesome way for you guys to really get into legato moves and just sink your teeth into them. The more you do them, the more fun they get, and they just get so smooth, and I really hope it helps you guys out. I'll see you in the next video.